career arc is truly incredible, from the early days in IT service management to leading global privacy and compliance frameworks. Let's dig into defining some of the lessons behind this journey.
In terms of information security, cyber security, the most dangerous threat is human integrity. Right? You can't question that.
What's the biggest lesson leaders should take away from scandals like Equifax, and how can organizations prevent history from repeating itself?
I believe in continuous learning, and throughout my journey of 16 years and future journey as well, I want to I want to assess myself where I am.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to FaceTime with Leaders, powered by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. Today's episode is one I've been looking forward to because it's not just about cyber or compliance, it's about something bigger, the trust that powers every business, every leader, and every boardroom. And the person joining us today has dedicated more than 16 years to building that trust. She's the head of GRC practice and a seasoned expert in information security, audits, risk, and compliance. From ISO 27001 to GDPR, HIPAA to PCI DSS, she's seen it all, implemented it all, and led teams through it all. She's built business continuity and disaster recovery frameworks, conducted global privacy governance, managed incident response teams, and even trained organizations to see security not just as a technical checklist but as a leadership mindset. Please join me in welcoming Miss Suhasini Sharma, strategist, mentor, and one of the most respected voices in governance, risk, and compliance today. Ma'am, it's such a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you, Dane, for such a generous and warm introduction. And I truly appreciate that how you have basically framed today's conversation because you are right. I think trust is the heart of everything, like what we do in security, risk, and compliance. So, trust is the heart. And I truly agree. What it meant for us is in the field of information security or its cyber security. It's the trust of the compliance of the customers and of the business, right? And it takes decades to grow it. It takes seconds to lose it. So I'm very excited to join you today. And apart from the technical side of the things, I'll try to come up with the leadership things so that we can just talk on how we can build resilience and persistence in this field, cybersecurity.
That would be lovely for our viewers, ma'am.
Sure. Thank you.
Ma'am, every leader has a first chapter, that moment when the story begins, long before the big titles and the boardroom conversations. Could you please take us back to that time? Like what it felt like to be starting out, the challenges of finding your place, and maybe even the moments of doubt. And looking back now, how did those early years shape the leader you are today?
See, it takes me really back when you ask this question, and I would love to answer this because that when I started my journey from college to the corporate world, it was kind of self doubt in me, lot of self doubt. It's not about certification, it's not about designations, but a kind of self doubt whether I belong to it, whether I would be able to do it or not, whether I need to prove myself. So all those doubts are coming up in my mind, and definitely when I entered the boardroom, I was the youngest, and I was the only woman. So it was like I was feeling like how I would be able to step into these kind of strategists and leaders. How can I be able to survive in this environment? But definitely, at that time also, when the field was evolving, information security was evolving. That time, they were not talking about the strategy. It was just firewall, antivirus, everything. That's it. So gradually, the things have changed, things have moved, processes, more focus on the processes. Organizations or the CISOs and CEOs have started to gain into that. Like in the board meetings, they have started discussing these discussions over the processes, how to make the stringent processes in the organization. So that caught my interest, and definitely I have that mindset. Apart from the technical side, that how definitely how we can improve gradually with terms of the technical skills, and taking all together people, process, and technology, we call it in our IT terms. And definitely I have built frameworks that gave the confidence to the organization, considering their people, their processes, and their ability to definitely look back, like how they can react to the challenges they come up with. So that was all.
Yeah, that would have been quite some journey. Like you said, when it started, compliance checklist was just a tick box maybe, but now it's become something so much bigger.
Yeah, yeah.
Ma'am, your career arc is truly incredible from the early days in IT service management to leading global privacy and compliance frameworks. Let's dig into defining some of the lessons behind this journey. Like at Cyber SRC, you're building privacy governance frameworks for laws like DORA and India's DPDPA. How do you convince leaders that compliance isn't just legal paperwork, but actually a business enabler?
Definitely, Tane. It's if you think, like, it's quite bureaucratic to say, and it's quite heavy to say. They feel it like it's paperwork, because um, it's like that they are finding it exciting that they file like the tax forms, right, and all those things. So apart from the paperwork, definitely when the organization shape up their mindset, they shift their paradigm, right, from technical side only to the strategy side, from the governance side. So definitely they need to shift their paradigm. And I, as a mentor, as a strategist, I try to convey like it is more than a paperwork, considering because if any organization thrives for the resilience, yeah, thrives for its persistence, and want to do business independently, confidently, do the expansions globally, right, they need to consider all these things, because it's not about only the data, it's about the trust that customer do on them, right. And definitely the employees working in the organizations, they also see up to the organization that they are working, that how they are carrying forward their journey path as an organization, right, globally or within India, definitely. So all these parameters, I ensure that it's not like that it's just a discussion and it's just about the compliance and the regulatory requirements they need to get into that for the DORA and DPDPA, but it needs to be built in the DNA of each and every employee who are working for the company, and whom they find that they are responsible. So it is a top-down approach.
Yeah, and a whole mindset change probably where
Yes, yes.
internally people need to start thinking a new way because now the systems have changed, right? Ma'am, now vendor security is a make or break issue in supply chains. What's the biggest mistake companies make when trusting third parties, and how do you recommend fixing it?
So I remember this scenario when I was working with an organization. They are spending millions for their vendors, right, to extend their business requirements, and they were very reputed. Definitely, I won't like I'm sorry, I will not recall their name. I will not say their name here. But the thing is, uh, if the mindset is like that, vendor is very reputed, and the organizations are doing great in terms of tools and technologies, it's not up to that. There needs to be organizations need to think like they are their extended partners. They can't oversee them, right. They need to build the same kind of security, they need to build the same kind of framework, shared responsibilities, so that they can actually grow together in terms of, because it's the stake of reputation for both the vendors and the organization, right? And like we could see the examples, CrowdStrike, many big reputed vendors, right? Breaches happens day in day out, and it's not, breach can't be stopped, but the thing is the ideology, the strategy, like how the responsibilities would be divided between the vendors and the organization, continuous monitoring, well defined processes that needs to be established within an organization. Because if we do for ourselves, we should do for the vendors also. So it is my suggestion to all the organizations: do not go by names. Definitely,
Yeah.
we need to go by names, and we need to establish a process of continuous monitoring so that we can build the resilience, perseverance, and the persistence in the growth.
Yeah, and the checks need to remain the same
Yes,
regardless of the nature and the structure of the organization or the size.
not the size.
Yeah. Ma'am, you've mentored teams and grown future leaders in cybersecurity. As a woman leader in this space, what's your message to the next generation, especially young women aspiring to enter governance and cyber roles?
So, Tane, you took me back to 2008 when I started my journey as the youngest women leader in this field, in this domain, when it was booming, right? It was growing, it was evolving in India. And at that time, definitely, it was a tough situation to answer to the questions, to the rolling eyes, that we need to prove ourselves, like why this is required, why compliance is required. So being a woman, it was very struggling at that time also, and nowadays also, because it at a competent level, sometimes we face those kind of pushbacks, right? In the boardrooms, right? With the associates. My message to all the young leaders and the women especially is to definitely take a step back, understand why you are in this field, strive for your learning, like what you are learning, present that. Don't, you need not to take the permission, you need to just be outspoken with your perspective in this field, because this fields require your perspective, right? And definitely, three things can't you anyone can't take from you. First is learning, right? Second is consistency, right? And third is humility, and fourth is perseverance. So all those things, definitely I have talked about perseverance as a fourth one, because these three that I have talked is the base of that, right? So this is a message, and definitely you can excel into it in this field, because this field needs women, definitely, in the terms, like, because women, I feel so, not being feminist, I feel so that women take can play better strategy roles, right? Strategic roles, and technical, definitely technical come strategic roles, and they can lead in a way, like they can redefine the situations, toughest situations.
Very well said, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. We've covered governance, risk, and compliance, but now it's time to loosen things up a little. We are starting our rapid fire round, which is short, sweet, and all I expect from you is no overthinking and quick one word or one line answers.
Sure, sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go for it. A book that's been on your bedside the longest.
Atomic Habits.
Lovely. If your team had to describe you in one word, what would it be?
Best friend.
Okay. A guilty pleasure snack during late night work.
Roasted Makhanas.
Bollywood or Hollywood actress you could play in a movie or want to play, whichever way.
Deepika Padukone.
And a movie which you love of hers.
Ye Jawani Hai Diwani.
Ah, lovely. Work from home or office hustle, which one do you prefer?
Hybrid.
Lovely. Compliance or creativity, which side of you wins on weekends?
Creativity with compliance.
Excellent. Ma'am, if not cybersecurity, what alternate career would you have picked?
So I am doing a alternative career. I have joined an NGO, so I'm a yoga trainer. I
Oh,
love doing yoga. I teach yoga in an NGO.
lovely.
So that would be my,
Lovely.
yeah.
Great, ma'am. I think we were rapid and fast. So thank you so much. That brings us to the end of our rapid fire round.
Sure. Thank you, Tane. It was fun. right?
Yeah. Now, coming back to our last set of questions. Ma'am, we've all seen how fragile trust can be in the digital era. Take the Equifax data breach of 2017, for instance, where the personal data of nearly 150 million people was exposed. It shook public confidence and became a textbook case of why cybersecurity and governance can't be ignored. From your perspective, what's the biggest lesson leaders should take away from scandals like Equifax, and how can organizations prevent history from repeating itself?
Definitely, Tane. It's the example you took is it was huge, massive loss, right? Not loss of the data only, but loss of trust. And definitely after that, many incidents, such incidents are coming up in different sectors. It is unstoppable right now also. I could say like that is an example, that example you quoted, right? You asked me, that is just an example of ignorance in terms of not building the strategy properly. The vulnerabilities were known, everything was known, highlighted, but a proper governance structure, process failure, right? Processes were not made after the vulnerabilities were known, and risks were not catered, right? How they need to cater those risks when they were highlighted. So a complete case of ignorance. Definitely after that, and right now also, the organizations are actually aware uh, in terms of information security, cyber security. The most dangerous threat is human integrity, right? You can't question that, you can't protect your organization from that. So as an organization, as a leader, you need to build such kind of processes for your people, right? So that they can also grow with you as an organization, and they can build a good secure infrastructure, good secure network architecture, security architecture for your organization. So it is not about only the organization, it is about the leadership, it is about the governance. Then again, I'm taking you back to the leadership, because cybersecurity is not only a technical thing that to handle, right? It is all about governance, good strategy, uh, rightly driven compliances, right? Not only just clearing out your regulatory requirements, right? Fear of paying fines or penalties. However, it's about like you need to make it into your DNA, right? Into your blood. Like it's your work, it's your accountability as an employee. And organization also give those chances to the employees to grow as a what you say, this cyber security strategist or analyst. Like they need to grow together, understand the technical aspects of it also, and the leadership and the planning aspects of it also.
Yeah, very well said. It's like how helmets came into the picture, but then people realize that it's for us. It's not
Yes.
for just out there and for not to get caught by the police. Something bigger than that.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is probably similar,
So
but
in
people are
India, it is
realizing.
very common. We are getting afraid of challans and all. We are not
Correct.
thinking about our security, our safety, right?
Yeah.
So rightly said. And it's also like we sometimes forget to close our windows.
Yeah.
We lock our doors, but it's you can relate to that also, because we trust our vendors also, right? So it could be like extended partnership within organization, how to deal with your employees, right? And how to build a good leadership processes, strategies. And then again, I'm coming back, it is a top down approach, so that people can grow and organization can also grow.
Yeah, now the fines related to data breaches are going up and up, and they're only
Yes,
going to go higher. So if we don't take up that, like one mistake can cause the organization really heavily.
definitely, definitely. Yeah.
Ms. Suhasini, after more than 16 years shaping cybersecurity risk and compliance across global organizations, you chose to join Directors Institute. That says a lot about your mindset that learning and leadership should never stop. We would love to know what inspired you to take that step and how has being a part of Directors Institute influenced the way you look at governance and future ready leadership.
So this question is taking my heart out, because it talks about my traits, my value system, because I believe in continuous learning. And throughout my journey of 16 years, and and future journey as well. I want to I mean, I want to assess myself where I am technically. So I could say like, yes, I'm comfortable in this situation. What's next, right? So I was thinking like how I can gain that kind of expertise, having a bird's eye view in terms of like what is happening in boardroom, right? Boardroom, how the strategies are being made. Being in any sector, I'm open to any sector. I can't say like I have worked in IT, I have worked in telecom sector, and different other sectors also I worked in. But I would definitely like to explore other sectors because the fundamentals are same. Strategies you need to build as per the industry, and this field is very what you say, very exciting to work with, because in different sectors you have different kind of processes, in aviation sector, in health sector, in IT sector, in telecom sector, so everything. So this program from the Directors Institute um, has given me that kind of platform so that I could make up my mind in a way, like I could start thinking in a way like from that view, how can I work across industries and build a kind of strategy for all the kind of organizations and help the organizations to build their confidence, right? In terms of their people, processes, and the state of their ability to respond to the challenging situations, right? So that was
Yeah.
my mindset. Yeah.
Lovely, ma'am. That is truly inspiring. And thank you so much for joining us today, ma'am. What really stood out in this conversation is how you've shown that cybersecurity and governance aren't just technical functions, they're more about trust, they're more about culture. And from your first steps in IT service management to leading global compliance programs and now shaping privacy governance at the highest level, your journey reminds us that resilience isn't just built overnight, it's built through passion, preparation, ethics, and the courage to keep learning. Thank you so much for joining us once again today, ma'am.
Thank you. My last message would be stay vigilant, stay ethical, and continue learning.
Lovely.
Thank you.
To our listeners, I hope this episode sparks reflection for you, whether you're leading a company, managing a team, or just starting your career, because Miss Suhasini's story makes one thing clear. In today's world, governance isn't just a checkbox, it's the foundation of survival and success. This has been FaceTime with Leaders, powered by Directors Institute World Council of Directors. If today's conversation inspired you, share it with a colleague, a friend, even someone just starting out their journey, because leadership is a lot about passing wisdom forward. Until next time, keep learning, keep leading, stay future ready, and of course, have fun in your journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you.